Let's learn about the model view controller pattern. The application we're going to build to demonstrate this is this little text here that is followed by a timer that updates every second. Beneath it is an input text field. So you say input text, and then you click the little green button beneath it, and it'll update the display text above it and reset the timer, and then clear the text field as well. Simple application, but it'll demonstrate model view controller pretty well. All right, the first thing that we're going to show off in the model view controller scenario is the view. Being Flash developers, I think we're all fairly visually oriented and we like to see things work. So let's show something. So let's make a new class and we'll call it view. We'll put it in an org pv3d lessons MVC package, and we'll make it a subclass of sprite, because to add anything to the stage in Flash in ActionScript 3, its superclass needs to be a sprite or a movie clip or any of those display objects. Alright, so in our view, what you need to know about this class, if you hit Control-Shift-D, it'll add this nice little comment up here. So view handles all user interaction. Think GUI. So in this view class, it's going to have everything that you can see, click, or type. Anything that you interact with is going to go within this view class. So let's make those text fields in the button. So private var display text. It's going to be a text field. New text field. Private var input text. It's going to be a text field. New text field. Private var green button. It's going to be a sprite. New sprite. And then let's create these down here. I know this isn't really related to the model view controller, but I know many people like to see everything built out, just to prove that there's no trickery going on here. So with our text field, or with our display text, we'll set the starting text to starting text, hard-coded. Whoops. And then we make its width bigger than its default width, so we'll make it pretty big. And for our input text, we need to set its type to text field type input, so that you can input text into it. Input text y equals 20. Input text width equals 100. Input text height equals 20. And input text border equals true. And that'll give us the text field, the input text field you saw before in the beginning application. And now we can create our green button really quickly with the drawing API. Begin fill, so red, red, green, green, blue, blue. That'll give it a nice green color. Draw rectangle, graphics, draw rectangle, starting at 0 and 0, making a width of 100 and height of 20. Let's end our fill here, graphics, end fill, and then we'll push it down to a Y of 40. We'll give it a width of 100 to match the text field above it. And then let's add all of these to the view by going add child. Add child is available because our superclass is sprite. Display text, add child, input text, and add child green button. Now we have everything created here. What we need to do is add this to our document class. So we'll just say var view. It's type of view, not video. So view is a new view. And then we'll just go add child view. And this will give us the, let's see, so I missed a right parenthesis. So this will give us the starting text, the hard-coded text right here, the input text, so we can type in here, and our green sprite, which will act as our button. Now that we have everything on the stage visually, let's add some interactivity to our button by saying green button, add event listener, mouse event click, and we'll say green button underscore click handler. If you haven't seen this kind of syntax before, the kind of best practices is to take the instance name, green button, the type of event, so this is a click event, and then add handler behind it. So you always know which instance it's referencing and the type of event that's listening for. So we'll create that function. So green button underscore click handler event mouse event. And we'll just make sure that it's working by saying tracing out click. So if we look at this now, we start clicking on this, you'll see down here that it is dispatching click and receiving it. So far so good, right? So let's move along with the model view controller by getting rid of this hard-coded text. What we're going to need for this is our data source. And within the model view controller paradigm, you create what's called a model, and its superclass in this instance is going to be an event dispatcher, because it's going to dispatch events when it updates. So we'll say our model is, so model stores data, says hi, I've updated, so change view. So any sort of data that you're going to work with in here, whether it be an XML file or anything, is going to go in this model, and it's going to take in that data, it's going to use it, and then it's going to update the view based on whenever it changes. So let's get rid of this extra stuff, make it nice and clean. So our data we're going to work with here is just going to be a string. We'll just make it text for view, and we'll say text from model is going to be the starting text. So you might wonder how we're going to get this string, text from model, into our view display text right here. The way we're going to do this is in our document class, we're going to create an instance of our model. Say model is a new model, and then pass that into our view. And you'll see we're getting an error here, which we need to go into our view and make it so that it can, takes that model. So let's create our member variable here, call it model, and then the view will take a model, and then this dot model will equal model, and then we'll change this from the hard-coded text to model text for view. And you'll see now if we run this that we'll get text from model, which is this text, which works because it's being created and then passed into the view, and then the view says, okay, I'll take that model and then I will use the public variable from the model and assign it to the text field. Now that we have our model set up, let's make it so that we can store data in our model. So we'll create a private var saved text, which will be a string, and we'll start it out as whatever's in the text for view. We'll create a public function here called save text. We'll call this text to save. This will be a string. And so whatever comes into this function as text to save will be stored in saved text. So saved text will now equal text to save. And then we'll trace out saved text to show this is working. So how we're going to call this function is in the view. When you click the button now, we will call model save text, and the text to save is going to be our input text. So if you run this now, you will see try this, and if you click the button, you'll see that it traces out click, and then we call the save text function, and it'll store the save text as whatever you typed in the input field. We'll try that again. So again, and click. You'll see that it clicks, and then stores again. Now that we're storing data in our model, let's make it so that whenever the model updates, that the view will update with it. So let's make another variable here called time from last update. This will be a number 0, and we'll just set up a simple timer in the constructor. So timer, it's a new timer, and 1000 means that this will call every 1 second. Timer add event listener, timer event timer, so timer underscore timer handler will be called every second, and timer start. So in our timer handler, private function timer underscore timer handler, timer event, you'll see that we can change the time from last update. We'll update that value of 1 each time. We will change the text to view, text for view that you see right there, and which will be updated to text for view will now equal a string, which is going to be saved text plus a space plus time from last update. So it's going to be whatever that saved text is, like try this or again, plus a space plus however many seconds it's been since you updated it. And then we'll create and dispatch an event, and we'll call this a change event, new event, and the type will be event dot change. And since this is an event dispatcher, as you see up there, we'll just say dispatch event, change event. Now, how we're going to see that this event is being dispatched is we're going to add a handler, but instead of doing it like we've shown, for instance here on the timer, we're going to go into the view and add on our model, we'll say model add event listener event change. We'll say model change handler. So we're adding the listener on the instance of the model this time. So private function model change handler event. Now every time the model changes, we're going to want display text to equal model text for view. Oh, sorry, display text.text, my bad. So you see now that timer is being updated and passed into the view every second. And if we update this to saved text and click the button, you'll see now that it changes to saved text and that the timer is still going. So let's change that. So every time you save the text, we'll reset the timer to 0. So time from last update equals 0. All right, so our timer has started running. We'll say reset the timer, click the button, and you'll see the timer's gone back to 0 and started at 1, 2, 3 again. We can change this to something else. Click, and you'll see that it's still running. And that's how the view will be updated each time the model is updated, because of the model's dispatching this change event, and the view is listening for that change, and every time it changes, it's getting that data from the model and assigning it to the text. Now the last piece in our model view controller puzzle is the controller. We haven't even created that yet, so let's do that now. So say new class controller. Now the purpose of the controller is controller, let's say, decides how application responds to user input. So it will take input from view and pass to model, or just update view. So the controller is going to handle everything that goes through the view and decide what to do with that interaction. So we're going to make a function, our controller, to be able to pass stuff to the model. It's actually going to need a reference to the model. So like before, when we create our controller, so controller, it's a new controller, we're going to need a reference to the model so that we can store stuff in it. So we'll hold our model here, private var model as a model. We'll allow it to be passed in as an argument here, model, and I'll say this dot model equals model. And then we'll create a function here called save text to model. So text for model string. And then you already saw this done in the view before, but it's this function model save text, and we'll call it text for model. And we're going to break out this logic here where we say model save text, and instead of calling that on the model, we'll give the view an instance of the controller as well. So let's pass in the controller in here, and then go to our view, create our controller, so this dot controller equals controller. I need to create it as an argument, controller. How many times can I say controller? Okay, controller. And now instead of saying model save text, input text, we'll say controller save text to model. Now what this does is it breaks out how this data is being handled, how this user input is being handled into the controller. So whenever we want to change, for instance, what function this would call on the model, or if it would update something on the view, or anything that that it would change in the application, we would change any of that here inside of the controller. What this does is it leaves the view so that the view only has to worry about you know, like text fields and buttons and anything that goes on with the visual display and things like that. So you'll see that if we run this again, it'll work the exact same way. So the same way, then click, and everything will update. Just that now you've broken your application into 3 separate pieces where the view is the GUI, the user interaction, the graphics, the movie clips, anything you work with that's visual or anything of that nature. The controller will take any of the clicks or anything that's updated in the view. Here, like this, when this button's being clicked, and it'll handle whatever data or event or anything you pass into it, and it'll either pass it on to the model and store that data into the model, or it can go back and update the view if it wants to. And the model will store that data here. And then, again, the model can also update by dispatching events. Can update the view itself with this model change handler event. That's Model View Controller in a nutshell. It's a very simple example. I hope you can see the power in this pattern. I plan on doing a part 2 that'll explain what the actual benefits, or more of the benefits of using the Model View Controller, what the benefits are, and how you can swap in different models or different controllers by using interfaces and so forth. I hope that helps.